rotten. I still have my parents' house. But it was the first time in my undergraduate career that I wasn't given an assignment, that I had a whole year to build whatever I wanted to build and create without it to be anything. That's why it's so rich. It's so open. And when I first said, oh, I want to have this big tree, I also thought, like, it's going to be shut down. They're like, sure, just, think about how to cut up in pieces, put it together, so things like that. So for me, it was great. It was like a final stone in terms of my own thinking for the rest of my work. And I do go back to it because I mean, obviously now I look back and I think of it as a very naive art project, but there's a lot of little grains that have continued to grow since then, like little ideas of what I'm interested in. So it was practical for me, for my own practice, even though it's not.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it depends on all these people. You guys have really applied what you guys did in your thesis, and I think that obviously you're able to you do a thesis in a major that's applied, and it's very easy to then you have to learn all to then apply it. I have a lot of friends who are also in the arts and sciences college who did English and art history majors and wrote theses, and I think that a lot of people use that as a springboard to go to graduate school, and so therefore it was absolutely essential to their experience. And then back, a person who graduated my year that was also as a pupil of Lisa's, just started to pursue a PhD in, I guess, basically Romanticism, and he wrote this whole thesis on Wordsworth. And so, I mean, I think that in each specific field that people are writing theses in, it's very, very useful.
I taught a class yesterday. I guest taught a class for somebody yesterday in the English department in Town on my undergraduate thesis topic. On the poet that I wrote on as an undergraduate. So, in 1984, I didn't think that was going to go anywhere, but I updated it a little bit. But there I was, out there in the world, still talking about my undergraduate 1984 undergraduate thesis. So, and I was an English major, so yeah, or a Living Machine, or a class on George Herbert. I mean, it all goes out there somehow.
So I was going to say, in terms of science, if what you're doing is useful, I guess a couple ways to think about this. One, it teaches you the skills that you need to do in the future, and also it's applicable to the field. And so I guess I could probably say that for my thesis, both of those were probably true, because one, I guess research is a big part of what gets you into grad school. So they look at it and say, is this useful, or is this just playing around with chemicals or whatever? And so I think they kind of think that is a big side factor. And then in terms of skills, I know that just from interacting with people and talking to me in class, I'm like, oh, I've done that technique, and this is how it works. So yes, I have learned a lot of things. And then also I've been maintaining contact with my thesis advisor. And so over the summer, he emailed me and say, oh, I finished writing up your thesis sort of into a paper format, and I'm going to submit it to a journal. What do you think? Do you have any comments? So I said, oh, you might want to change this, maybe that. I was like, cool. And so then last week he actually emailed me back and said he got comments on it and revisions, and that we might be able to publish it soon, but just with a few revisions. So I mean, in that sense, it is useful. People might be looking at that research and base their research on what I've done. So
my implication wasn't that it might not be useful. It was more, is the world receptive to these positive input of positive changes, perhaps? Have you been able to connect with, real concrete getting it done? That was my question, and you answered it.
Yeah.
When you did your thesis, did you all start doing it just senior year, or did you start this process at the end of junior year? And did you feel that you had enough time with all the other classes that you were taking, or did you take a lighter load to accommodate
There was a second semester junior year thesis seminar, it was just specifically a space to think about the thesis, and we had to write proposals to get accepted. So the
it's pretty typical to take a slightly lighter load. I took the same amount of classes, and I didn't work on it at all until sort of halfway through the first semester of senior year, maybe even later. And I think that, one thing is that probably if you're in the honors college, you're somewhat self-motivated, and the easiest thing to do is just really set deadlines for yourself, and also your advisor is helpful in making you meet deadlines. But it's like a tree that you're chopping down. You just got to keep chipping away at it, and if you stick to a schedule, it's very manageable.
I think a lot of people start around that time, but I know at least in science it's kind of a trend that people tend to get in labs earlier, and so some people use the research that they've done earlier in their career, of course, for some people things might start, I guess.
I started thinking about topics my first year. Maybe I'm an anomaly, but I just thought, I'm passionate about so many things. How am I going to narrow it down into something really specific? That felt like a huge challenge, so I could just write about everything I care about. And I started doing research between my sophomore and junior year, and then went to Washington, D.C. and continued my research for a semester. And that really helped me out because I didn't take a lighter load my senior year. And in fact, as a student body president, and missed most of my thesis plan and thesis classes, and had to do a lot of it in the middle of the night. So, yeah,
We try to get them thinking. I mean, we introduce them to the idea of a thesis in their first year, so that it doesn't come as a surprise to them. And so they don't have to have a topic in first year, but they need to know it's coming, and they need to have some sense of like it's great to hear other students talk about their completed thesis projects. Then they have a sense of wow, opportunity. And maybe they'll start investigating those opportunities. Last question.
Yes, I've heard about some of you taking a semester abroad and kind of working through thesis. How about others of you? Did you find that taking a semester abroad was easy to fit into the honors program?
There are a lot of people who have no scholars who are able to go abroad. There's actually a trend that I personally advocate of going abroad as a sophomore. There were I think 10 of us in the first year who went abroad the second semester of our sophomore year. And also to throw out, for some of the more heavier course load majors where there's less electives, so it's harder to go abroad. There's also summers and winters. I went on semester 2 in the summer, and people alternate spring break, winter break. So there's ways of getting abroad that even if you have a late honors stream. Sorry, yeah. So my perspective on that is that when you go abroad, especially if you go to, when you go abroad, typically you learn a lot about yourself, and if you're studying specifically abroad, something that you think you specifically something you want to study, you may learn you actually don't like it, or you may learn you love it even more. So my comment was along the lines of, when I got back, I was able to pick up a different minor, and I was hanging out with the kids, and I had 2 years to integrate that into my life, whereas for some people who go abroad from typical time, which is second semester junior year, I've known a number of people who are like, okay, now I know, but now I have 1.5 semesters left to put that together. It's great. It accelerated I see it as my confidence, my feeling that I could do whatever I wanted to do, that kind of work I did when I was abroad. So having that earlier was just better. There's more time to apply that.
Thank you so much. Thank you to the panelists. Thank you.